idea of kind of like who you bought it for
Yeah.
and how you came across it and what made you want to buy it?
Yeah. So I bought it for my son. He is an 18-year-old, just finished up with his freshman year at University of Alabama. And he had not really previously struggled with acne.
Okay.
So really, I think it had been since going to Alabama, and I'm sure the lifestyle of a college student, d didn't work in his favor. But I think he came home. It must have been right around Thanksgiving, and he had just awful breakouts. And by the time then we saw him again over the holidays for winter break, it had gotten even worse.
Mhm.
So it mainly was like concentrated in his neck area, like red, inflamed, um, really bothersome to him. Like he was picking at it, it was
Mm.
bleeding. He had mentioned, he's like, we have to go see a dermatologist. So, I said, yeah, we'll set that up probably, the next time you come back home, which was, it's kind of difficult, obviously, to coordinate that. But he had just been struggling, in the time I was even talking to him since going back to school in the second semester, he had further breakouts. He was getting it on his forehead, on his cheeks. And he kind of felt like it may have been due to not only poor eating habits, because he was eating a lot of fried foods, but he also was doing drinking beer. So he kind of suspected maybe it was that. But obviously, like it didn't kind of derail him from either of the two.
Yeah.
So he came
Well,
home
what's
for,
college without fried foods and beer?
yeah, exactly. So I happened to be, I think it was like kind of in that February time frame. He was really kind of he's in pretty good spirits most of the time, but he was pretty bummed, and he said like it's really affecting my confidence, and I just driving me crazy. Could you make an appointment either with a dermatologist, or I really want to go on Accutane,
Hmm.
and
And
he
had he
has
tried in this process, had he tried any other acne products
yes,
before? Okay, so
yeah,
as he was
yeah.
he was using other products.
Yeah. So he had last year, just for like spot treatments, had tried serious skincare.
Okay.
And it's like a QVC brand, I think.
Okay.
And he had good success with it. I mean, it really helped clear up his acne. And it wasn't bad acne, but the breakouts that he did have, he had good success with it. So he kind of went back to that. It was not working this time around. Then we tried, just different types of like he was at the Atlanta airport and he went to I think Kiehl's and picked up an acne treatment there, and then he tried various others, and it just it kept breaking out, even more so. It was flaking, peeling. So he finally said, I'm kind of done. I want to go on Accutane. And I said, I know that is not right for you. I said that it's had a ton of side effects. He has Crohn's disease, so
Yeah.
we're really kind of particular about, what, treatments he's on.
Yeah.
And I said, there's got to be something out here,
Yeah.
and honestly, it was random because I am not big on social media at all. I mean, I follow influencers as a part of my job
Okay.
in marketing. And I happened to be on, Instagram, and I saw this thing pop up, and I thought, I was like, this is kind of interesting, because part of the problem is that he wouldn't do anything. He's very low maintenance in
Yeah.
everything. Like there's shortcuts to everything he does. He's an aerospace engineer, so like he doesn't believe in a lot of things, and he takes the easy way out whenever he can, and I knew it had to be something super simple for him to do to try. And I was kind of looking at the testimonials, and I thought to myself, like, gee, this might be worth a try. So it really was out of like complete frustration and not wanting to go down any other avenue that was going to be harmful to him,
Yep.
that kind of led me there.
Great.
And yeah, so he started it, I want to say in mid-March.
Okay.
So I would say within that first week, he saw like, as I say, green shoots. It's like there's hope. It
Within the
wasn't,
first week of just using it, he saw some
yeah,
some progress.
yeah. So he did see some progress. I saw it, especially like there was less inflammation there because he was home on spring break for a week. It wasn't by any means like gone.
Yeah.
And then so he went, I sent him with the patches. He swore that he was doing it every day. And I said, "Are you seeing any improvement?" And he's like, "Yeah, I am seeing improvement.
That's
It's
great.
something that I can, it looks like it's working." And I said, "Okay, well, it was kind of hard to tell because we didn't really FaceTime. We were just on the phone." And so he came home again, I want to say mid-April. And that's kind of when I said, I was like, it's working. I can tell. Like the major inflammation and the redness had come down significantly. He was getting fewer breakouts, still breaking out though.
Yeah.
And it was then that I said, "Hey, I already bought a second batch for you."
Okay.
And that's kind of when he started that second batch. And I think he's on like that second shipment
Okay. So
right
probably like a
now.
month, his third month in kind of
Yeah,
thing.
he's in the third month, just started the third month. So the like even yesterday, I happened to snap a picture of him, and it's just the scarring that remains at
Yeah.
this point, and it's even starting to subside a little bit.
Yeah. And scarring will take time. Our product does help with scarring, but it's not going to be as impactful as really the inflammation and the active breakouts and healing of the skin barrier. So that's kind of will be expected a bit.
Yeah, I did tell him that that's probably something that just kind of like cell turnover is just going
Yeah.
to take time, and he's just got to be patient. Very few breakouts to this point. Like he didn't really have enough strips to kind of cover like the forehead. Like he was doing it coating the entire neck area, and he
Yeah.
didn't have enough to cover the forehead. So he was getting a few pop-ups. And I was like, "Hey, you might want to kind of borrow from the next patch and kind
Yeah.
of use it, and do more coverage and we'll get more." And he's been doing that. And I think he had maybe one new breakout,
Okay.
but it's really been significant.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about kind of just how he's acting now in his demeanor. You said he was, a little down on his confidence and all of that. So tell me a little bit about probably, acne's not gone, but how is he feeling now?
Yeah. I think he feels much better.
Yeah.
He feels like he's more confident, I think, around his friends. He has a new job for the summer. He's working at a like a private yacht club.
Oh,
And I
nice.
think he feels like he can show himself, there and not feel like he's embarrassed by his skin.
Yep.
Um, he's using it like religiously because I see him doing it in the mornings, and he will be late for work if I mean just so he finishes this.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great.
So
So it
and
shows that he believes it and it's working and it just kind of feeds that loop, which is great.
yeah.
Um, any feedback on the app and maybe you don't know, but if as he mentioned anything, our product is very different, right? And so there is putting it on and even it's like, is this doing anything? But it's also a different application method. Any feedback that he had in the beginning at all, or he just was like, look, it goes on quick and that's it, and I'll just trust the process because it's working.
Yeah, I think he kind of had no choice. Like
Yeah.
he had run out of like the quick fixes that he could get his hands on, and he's like, "I tried that. I tried that. I tried that." And they all took time for him to do, and he didn't see any progress. So he was like, I think kind of convinced, like, well, if I'm going to try this, it's easy. It seems a little bit unconventional, but I kept telling him, like, literally, you can do this in minutes. It's,
Yeah,
it's not going to take any time at all. And I think once he started seeing like a little bit by bit, it was clearing up, then he had bought into it.
that's great.
So,
That's great.
yeah. And in fact, I happen to be telling my sister-in-law because my niece also struggles badly
Mm,
with acne, and she's, I want to say 14 or just turned 15. And her mom had said, she's like, I'm gonna put her on Accutane. I don't want to. And I'm like, you know what? You got to check this out. I'm
yeah.
like, because I showed her the picture of Alex, my son, and I said, I'm already starting to see progress. Like if you can try this, like if it worked on him, it has a good chance of working on
Yeah.
her. And I have yet to check in with her to see, but I know she had a lot of struggles with Accutane, like just even wanting to go down that path.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit about me. I started and sold two businesses, and I was kind of like in this in between of like, what do I do after I sold my last business? And I was actually introduced to this technology and to this manufacturer in Europe by a friend. So we were traveling in Europe, and I visited the factory, and I was like, this is pretty cool. I'd love to try this for acne. And that's kind of how we got down this path of working with a scientist to kind of develop it. But I was on Accutane and I literally was on it for 3 weeks until I had to stop because it was just causing me like stomach pain and like irregular bowel movements and stuff that I just didn't feel comfortable kind of moving forward with. But it definitely does work. It's just, if it can be avoided just due to the side effects, that's the goal.
Yeah. Was
Um,
this originally meant for something, another skin condition other than acne? Because when it was adapted?
So it wasn't that it was meant for a different, the manufacturer had been using this mechanism for wrinkles actually.
No.
And they thought wrinkles was a much bigger market. They actually were never selling in the US though, just because really a smaller like Czech manufacturing company. They were selling overseas in Asia and the Middle East, but they never kind of hit the US market. So my friend who introduced me, he has a skincare device company that helps with like anti-aging. So he was actually evaluating it for the wrinkle line.
Wow.
And so I just went with him and visited it. And so at that time I said, learning about the technology, it can be used for anything. And actually, the manufacturer wants to actually use it for more pharmaceutical usage, like wound healing and stuff, because it's
Oh,
basically collagen that's encapsulating any active ingredient. But to be able to get into the kind of medical space, there's a lot more requirements. And so when I saw it, I was like, I don't want to do it for wrinkles. I don't necessarily have a huge passion for that, but I had acne, so I'd love to be able to try it out for that. And so we launched about 11 months ago now as a very young kind of self-funded brand. And you sounds like you're in marketing, so
yep,
you
yep,
you, you know the grind.
yes,
So yeah, so that's kind of where we're at now. And for me, it's as we continue with this product is I want to get feedback and hear what people have to say. And I'll be the first to admit, does this work for everyone? Absolutely not. But I don't think any acne treatment that can really say that they work for everyone.
yeah,
So we just have to kind of, make sure that we stay in our lane of what we know we can do and what we can know we can help and kind of go from there.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I think one of the big selling points was the fact that it was um other than being easy, because a lot of things can be easy, but they could be harmful, was
Yeah.
that, obviously my son had this condition where I knew Accutane, for the very reasons you talked about, and that you
Yeah.
stopped using it, would be really detrimental to him,
Yeah.
and I thought if this was something that could help repair the skin, it was doing it in a way that was, mostly positive and it wouldn't be harmful to him, that would be really like the magic, bullet. And
Yeah.
I had struggled because everything, I mean, being in marketing, I know what is, possible to message out there that
Yeah.
people will believe, but I think this line, especially given like testimonials to me are like the proof in the
Yeah.
pudding. Like if you can get people, numerous people to tell their story, I think that's really what hit me. It was like, oh wow, it worked for them. I mean, his acne is a kind of that bad. So yeah, it could work for him.
That's great. And I guess I'll segue into that, which is like, in the acne market, like moms and individual acne sufferers, there's a lot of skepticism, right? They've
Yeah.
tried so many different things. If you were to be talking to a mom who has a kid who's struggling with acne, they've tried a lot. It's another, treatment that they're going to have to try. And, or do I believe this? What would you say to that skeptical mom with your firsthand experience using Vanish?
Yeah, I would say exactly what I told my sister-in-law. I said, you have nothing to lose, it's safe, it's easy. There's a lot of folks out there using it. It's just it's worth the try,
Yeah.
And then I really think like the testimonial element is big. I did tell her to look it up over Instagram. Social is the way to go. I
Yeah.
mean, getting the message out in a way where there's a lot of social momentum out there because people flush out bad
Yes.
products all the time. I mean, somebody could say something that, hey, this is the best product and I believe it. And then obviously comments will,
Well,
review will
and,
expose
and
it.
I think it's like, I think in the acne space specifically, there's also there's an urgency factor that if
Yes.
they don't see it in 30 days, then it's the product doesn't work,
Yeah.
which I understand, right? But um, I think there's a lot of products that can work if there's consistency. And so, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
personally, that's what we deal with as you probably understand the industry. That those are challenges that we work through as well. So, but cool. I don't have any, super helpful. Thankful for that feedback. Um, Anything that I'm missing that I didn't ask that you would kind of comment on our product or anything like that?
No, I think the only thing like me as a parent had wondered kind of as a little bit maybe of that like gap that exists is like what next? Like how, like guidance maybe from Vanish on like on the line is like okay, like because I think there's really good expectations as far as what you're going to see week 1 and what you're going to see week 2, but kind of extending that a little bit more and saying, okay, you might be in month 4 and you might be seeing mostly clear skin. Now what? Because
Yeah.
I guess my fear as a parent is we totally stop using it and then it comes back and then we're starting over again.
Yeah. Um, Very helpful information. I will try to figure out how to do that. I think the challenge for us as a brand is figuring out what guidance because everyone's so different.
Yeah.
I've had someone use it literally for 30 days and they provided us feedback and they haven't had to touch it again.
Wow.
I've had someone use it for 3 months, they stopped, and then acne came back, and so they just had to use it continuously. I think the one thing that I like about our product, and obviously I'm biased, but I've used every acne treatment under the sun as a teen. I've gone through estheticians, I paid for hydrofacials, like I've done it all. But when I dug deeper into like the concept of over-the-counter acne treatment specifically, one, we're all regulated by the FDA. And so if you pick up one bottle versus the next, you're going to see very similar ingredients. Like there's no way around it. And actually in product development, I learned that the hard way because we didn't include any of the FDA monographed ingredients that we had to include in our product.
Hmm.
Um, but what makes our product a bit unique is that because we have the 3 phases, we can put the approved product or ingredient into one of the phases so it doesn't strip and reduce kind of the effectiveness of the product. So to answer your question directly of like what next, let's say your son, is 4 or 5 months in and his skin's looking good. my direct guidance to you is it's really kind of a testing and seeing, like, is there something internally that is causing that inflammation and Vanish is doing a good job reducing that inflammation? Or did he have maybe some underlying skin barrier, compromised skin barrier issues that were causing his acne and has Vanish helped heal it? If Vanish has helped heal that, then he might not need to use it again. But if he does need to use it consistently and he does stop and the acne comes back, because of the phase approach is we're not applying the same ingredients on the face every day over and over again. Like that's what I like about it because it's a cycle where it lets the skin breathe from any like salicylic acid, for example, which is an exfoliator that could irritate the skin more. So if and we have individuals that have literally bought 11 months worth back to back is he can continue to use it until maybe he grows out of that phase as well,
Okay.
or diet is better or what have you.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure he'll have a mixed approach. I mean, he has not, to be honest, been drinking a lot
Okay.
because he's really kind of, hesitant to do that, knowing that, hey, I'm starting to see good signs. I don't want to have a setback. But I
Yep.
know that'll obviously change when he goes back to school in the fall. So that'll be the real test, I think,
Yep.
for him. But